Namaste, everyone. This is Harsha Ramaiya. I am the National Core Committee member for Early Childhood Association, and I'm very happy today to be the host for this candid conversation. During this season of COVID, we have attended a lot of sessions, lot of webinars, and we've tried to bring out solutions to the problems that we had. But this conversation, this session is extremely different because we told the educators to reach out to ECA with their problems. And I'm happy that most of the educators pan India have emailed us their problems. And today we have Dr. Swati Popat-Watts, and I'm very happy to bring her here for this conversation. Dr. Swati Popat-Watts, welcome.
Namaste, welcome. And I can see Rupali Tanna has joined.
She's a loyal audience, ma'am, actually. So this conversation is very, very important, Dr. Watts, because all the educators have reached out to us. The webinars that we attended during this season, we have discussed a lot of problems. We have discussed about a lot of solutions, but these problems are from the educators themselves in specific. So they have shared a lot of problems, and to my knowledge, all the problems were repetitive. So I'm sure that many of us are sailing in the same boat, but we don't find answers. So an expert like you, when I term an expert like you, I mean to say that you are the mother for us, for ECA, and we are looking forward for solutions, for suggestions, for some guidelines. So not taking much time, Dr. Watts, I will just start reading out the questions that we have received. The first question in this session I would like to put is, parents are objecting for online sessions. They are complaining about excessive screen time. This problem most of us are facing. So Dr. What's your views on this?
See, we need to understand, Harsha, that everything that we are right now experiencing as parents, as teachers, and as children is happening to anybody in the world for the first time. So yes, we as preschools are coming out with fast decisions, fast solutions, but we can't expect the parents also to be in a similar frame of mind and accept our decisions or accept our solutions so easily. And that is where you have to have some kind of parent education to help them understand that why this is necessary for their children. As I have said in so many webinars, three things that children are missing out right now on are thinking skills, emotional skills, and social skills. And that is where the school as an expert wants to come to the child at home through a screen so that children don't miss out on these very important three foundations. See, 0 to 6 years are very important years in a child's life. Parents right now are so busy with the problems that they are facing that they have forgotten that these are important years. These are not just meant for free play. Yes, your children are playing in the house, which is very good. But at the same time, the child's brain also requires some stimulation. And that is what the school is trying to give them so that they don't lose out on this very important growth period. Now, parents are worried about screen time because many schools made this mistake of putting the child in front of the screen for 2 hours and 3 hours at a stretch, which is against medical research. That you cannot put children for so long in front of a screen. So there were mistakes made from many schools, which has aggravated the situation in the minds of parents. When it comes to parents saying too much screen time, I would like to advise these parents that as it is your children are watching television at home, as it is your children are playing games on the mobile phone on a loop, reduce that screen time and in fact let your child engage with the teacher in the classroom, because that is going to impact your child's socio-emotional development, which is good in the long run. Your child will have fewer meltdowns, fewer temper tantrums, because the child is engaging socially, the child is engaging emotionally. The teacher is going to ask them questions, they are thinking questions. So the child has got its necessary dose of these three trinity, which I talk about, which is thinking skills, emotional skills, and social skills. So it is up to schools to convince parents about this importance. and then to ask parents about other issues that they want help with. Like some parents are not happy with the timing of the school, that at this time my office also is on, so I cannot give the screen to the child. So it is very important that we take it stepwise with the parent. And I urge parents also to understand the enormity of the situation right now. You cannot just say that khelne do, kuch nahi hota hai, because a lot of negative impacts will happen because the child is not getting the due attention that the child deserves.
Thank you so much, Dr. Watts, for this advice. I'm sure that the schools have to orient the parents in this process. So
Absolutely.
orientation is very important. Dr. Watts, second question, very important, outstanding fees for the academic year 2021 is yet to come for many schools because most of the admissions happen during March, April, and May. So what about those admissions? What about those fees? Without the fees coming in, it is very difficult for any individual to run the show of a school. So can you advise us on this part?
So I'm going to make this answer in three parts. Part one is that I want the school owners to understand that they are not alone. There are many other businesses who are suffering. You have hair salons who are not able to do any business and who don't have any fees that are going to support them. You have restaurants, you have daily job workers. Everybody is in the same boat. So first, you need to understand this enormity and then understand your responsibility as an educational institution, that you are an educational institution. You are a necessity. You are an essential. And that is why Early Childhood Association has drafted that letter, which is appealing to parents to pay their fees, because education is a necessity. It's not an expense. So it is very important that once you read that letter, you will have the right words and the right thought process when you are talking to parents about fees. Also important appeal to parents is that if you are getting your income without any break, then there is no reason why you shouldn't be paying the school fees. But yes, if you have suffered any income setback, then this is the time for you to approach the school on a case-to-case basis and solve it with the school. I have got lots of comments from school owners that parents are ganging up, sending group emails. That doesn't work in this situation. All of you are not financially in the same boat. Some of you are financially secure. Some of you are not financially secure, and some of you are damaged financially. So each one has a separate issue. So I would urge parents, don't group up like this. Get in touch with your school. You have a relationship with the school. Find a solution for yourself. And to the schools, I would say that yes, you have missed out on the biggest period when fees could have been collected because of this pandemic, for no fault of yours. Now is the time for you to support the parents by maybe collecting monthly fees, by maybe understanding the parents' issue, maybe also by giving them an option of online, because many schools are saying come to the school and pay, which is not possible for many of the parents. So an online option de do. So it will have to be done based on what kind of a school you are, what kind of a relationship you had with your parents. I'm sure 100% parents are not going to pay. They will not pay because many of them have suffered a lot of setbacks. But whatever percentage of parent pays, I am sure that if you have a strong relationship with your parents, and if you don't break that bridge between you and the parents right now, that is very important. You can still salvage some amount of fees from some understanding parents, and you will be able to function.
Thank you so much, Dr. Watts. There was a question about the rent also, because many schools buildings are there on rent. So how do they go about in this situation, ma'am?
Best is, so this is also something that people wanted a letter from ECA for, but rent is a very personal relationship, like a business relationship between the renter and the rentee. We cannot interfere in that. I have urged schools to get in touch with their landlords, ask for a deferment in the payment. Many landlords have given. I know of many school owners whose landlord have said that for the next 3 months, I will defer your payment of the rent. You can pay me later on. Some landlords have reduced the rent. And sadly for us, we have to understand that this also is a functioning of a business. And sometimes loss is a part of business. And this is something that we will have to brace ourselves for the next 6 months, because it's not going to get over soon. Because a lot of these school owners think that as soon as lockdown is lifted, life will come back to normal. It won't come back to normal so fast. So you will have to brace yourself now mentally and your income wise for the next 6 months. So that's going to become a very big planning that you will have to have in place. And where rent is concerned, because it's one of the biggest costs that a preschool owner goes through, is something that you will have to have a very, very intimate chat with your landlord and ask if he can defer it for the next 6 months, if that's possible, because that will give you a good period to recover.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Another important question, where 3 to 4 teachers were leading a batch. Now in this given scenario, only one teacher is leading the show and the other 3 are dormant, which can bring complications in the future. How do we deal? Because I think this situation we all can identify and relate to, because everyone now has started facing this. Because in a normal school, when we had a staff of 20, now when the things are going online, we need lesser staff. So now how to go about it, ma'am?
This is a very, very important question. In fact, I had an email also today from somebody, and this school shared with me that they have tried to follow all ECA guidelines, but because they are a small preschool, they have to now let go of staff. And so they sent me their breakup, that which are the staff that we are planning to let go and in which order. And I have requested them to give it another 2 months, and they have agreed. But this is a decision that sadly, very sadly, all private preschool owners will have to take. I would suggest that when you come to that point, when you think of letting go of your staff, think about single income mothers. Those are not the people that you should be leaving jobless. Think about those whose husbands have lost their jobs and now they are the ones on whom the whole family income is dependent. Or think about your bais and your ayahs, that they live hand to mouth. So they are going to keep needing an income. So when you are sitting on doing your financials now, with all the loss that you are facing, there are some very tough decisions that you will have to make. But even while making those tough decisions, I would say think humanely as much as possible, because you never know about when we are opening. If you remove a good teacher right now, there is very slim chance that she will be available when you are open. Also, you need to think, how many of these teachers, if the government says tomorrow that we are opening in June, how many of these teachers and their families will allow them to come to work physically? Because talk to them frankly, because it shouldn't be that you're trying to save a teacher's job who actually is not going to come back to work. So these are, again, as I said, very thought through decisions that you will have to take. It's going to be a heartbleed for everybody, because who doesn't like their teams? As I said to this school who wrote an email to me, give it another month or 2. It's a business. A setback always happens in a business. So don't break your team right now. But worst comes to worst scenario, the peripherals can be taken out. Like if you have extra dance classes or something like that, you can stop those activities. You may be paying some vendor for something. Maybe you can stop that. So, you know, you can start slimming those kind of expenses before it comes to your core team, which is your teachers and your support staff. And God forbid we come to that situation when we are left with no money and we have to take a call on our staff. As I said, think humanely and remove those who don't need the extra income right now and retain those who are dependent on that income. And also think from the point of view of that if down the line, after 2 months, if schools open, will you have the best team? Because you know the cutthroat competition which is there amongst private preschools. So I would say, don't do anything in a hurry. Think about it, sleep over it before you take any decision.
Ma'am, thank you so much. This was indeed a wonderful thought process that you have given us, because I'm sure this answer is going to benefit all of us, because every single night when we sleep, we keep on thinking. We don't want to, break the team, nor we want to, behave like humne nikal diya and on money terms. But this is giving a tough time to all of us. So this was
to understand that you are not removing them while making an income.
Exactly.
It is something that your staff also understand, that there is zero income right now for many preschools. Then either the staff says, okay, I'm ready to work without an income, or I'm ready to be there with you. So this will have to be done as a team spirit. These are solutions that will have to come out from within you and your team. Let's not think about removing anybody. Let's think about maybe negotiating and coming out with some solutions.
Exactly. Ma'am, thank you so much. Another question on the list is, there is a concern with every parent about how the school is going to work in the coming months, and the most important about the fees reduction. I think fees, every email that I have received, there was one question about fees. And in your first answer also, you have summed up, but I would like you to throw a little light on this, ma'am.
So basically, nobody knows now when school will open. It's definitely not opening in June. It all depends on the vaccine. If the vaccine comes early, in a month's time, things will fall into normal. But if the vaccine doesn't come, things may not fall into normal for quite a long time. But my point to parents is, whatever the world is going through, whatever you are going through, why did you have that child? You had that child because you wanted to give a good life, a good future to another human being. You wanted to nurture that life. Isn't education a part of that nurturing process? So cut down on your expenses, cut down on Netflix, cut down on, as it is, you are not able to eat outside food, cut down on a lot of other things, but don't think of education of your child as a non-essential. Yes, talk to the centers about reduction of fees, but think about the center also, that the center has to make its human resource survive. आप rent नहीं दोगे, but आपको अपने staff के बारे में तो सोचना है ना. So parents have to understand that they are in this journey with the schools, and parents and schools have to handhold now, become sensitive towards each other, and come out of this with a solution that is a win-win for both the parties. So I would say, if a parent is asking you for fee reduction, don't get angry. Ask the parents, why do you want a fee reduction? For what do you want a fee reduction? And as I said, take it on a case-to-case basis. Right now is not the time for us to lock horns and to break relationships. The only thing that's going to help us survive beyond COVID is the relationships that we are left with. So it is very, very important for parents to be groomed by the school to understand. You need to be, when you talk to that parent, don't get into arguments. When you talk to that parent, don't be very on a high horse that हमारे कितने खर्चे हैं और आप लोग fees नहीं दे रहे हैं. Don't get into that you and I kind of a situation. You both have one common factor between you, which is the child. And both of you should keep your focus that you are doing everything that you are doing for that child. So keep that focus, and you keep that focus, You will be able to come out with solutions. You will be able to talk sensitively to that parent. And 100% fees, it's not going to happen. It's not happening even for bigger brands. It's not even happening for established brands. It's the reality of the day. So when will school open? We don't know, but God has given us an opportunity for us to try out in a way that if the child can't come to the preschool comes to the child. So it is very important for us to understand that making the child sit in front of a screen for 25 minutes, what's wrong in that? You are as it is making the child sit in front of the screen for a lot of entertainment. Why are you valuing the school so less that abhi aap log to screen pe sikha rahe ho, to pura fee kyun le rahe ho? We have to get out of all this. This is something that we are doing as an investment in children, and parents need to be educated about it. And who best than the schools to educate parents? I feel ye jab tu मैं school jati hai na with the parent, when they lose all respect, that's when the parent also loses respect and then counter insults the school. That is a stage where you should never reach. Be before that stage only, and learn to be adjusting, accommodating, and learn to be affirmative. That is very, very important.
So what I understand by what you said, ma'am, is that I think we should invest this time in building relations with the parents, winning their confidence. I think if we are able to do that, the relations post-COVID will be more stronger and they will be able to understand our situation in a better way.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, Harsha, we have preschools in UAE. We have 2 preschools in UAE. The status right now there are no fees, 0 fees since the last 3 months. 0 fees. Can you imagine that? Parents have just removed their children. They're not bothered. We started online learning there, and slowly the parents started trickling in, because the parents started realizing that, yes, my child needs to be occupied effectively. The school is doing something for my child, and slowly and steadily income started coming in. So that is what I'm saying. When parents removed all their children, had we also started behaving insultingly, we would have never got them back. So it is going to be a hard climb for all of us. I only want you all to remember that you are an ant. Have you seen an ant? वो ऊपर चढ़ने की कोशिश करता है, गिरता है, तो भी ऊपर चढ़ेगा, फिर भी गिरेगा, तो भी गिरेगा. I have watched ants sometimes for hours together, the struggle they go through. Have you seen an ant when it carries a grain of sugar? That grain of sugar sometimes is at least 5 times bigger than its body. It stumbles, it drops, but it can. We need to become ants right now. We can't give up. We have to have that single purpose mindedness like ants and not learn to give up, neither on ourselves and nor on the parents.
Parents, yes, absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. One question coming up is, soft toys can be used then. What about puppets? What about storybooks which are used by teachers? Can we just wipe them with a disinfectant? We have seen a machine that sprays disinfectant. Would that be a good spray in the classrooms and staircases and also toys? Kindly guide us about that.
So in our guidelines, we have said, please take away any soft material for the time being, which means take away soft toys, take away carpets, the soft carpets. You can keep the EVA mats, which can be washed. Because we don't know right now. See, the problem with this epidemic is it's too new. We don't know right now from where the virus can spread. So in the beginning, when the preschools do open, anything that can absorb a sneeze or the droplets should be avoided. Plastic can be washed, steel can be washed, wood can be sprayed, but a soft toy, even if you put it in the washing machine, a child may put it in its mouth, give it to another child, and I may suck whatever the child has already put. So, you know, it has droplets. So we do not advise keeping soft toys for some time. Puppets, teachers can use. but I would advise teachers not to exchange them, which means the same teacher uses the same thing. It should not be touched by somebody else. That is very important. Also, when you are using things like storybooks, which can be touched by other teachers, wear gloves, because that is very, very important. Where spraying things are concerned, again, ECA is not sure about how safe are these things. How much would these, when you spray something, there are droplets and they may stay in the air for quite some time. So ideal is always Dettol, liquid low, or चीजों को surfaces को wipe करो उससे. You know, that is most important. Spraying का एक और disadvantage होता है that when I spray, the whole thing will fall into one place. It will not spread itself properly. So toys, best is to wash them. You can wash them with soap and water, scrub them properly. Spraying is something that I would avoid. ECA has said to avoid it. If you notice in the beginning, when this pandemic was going on, people had created these entrances where people were being sprayed before entering a premise. And the WHO has now said that that kind of a spraying is extremely dangerous. So we have to be very cautious when we take any decisions for these little children. ECA has very, very detailed guidelines. But if you are still not sure, always check on UNICEF, WHO, because they're coming out with new guidelines almost every day. They are adding to the research that they are finding out. So I would say soft toys, children's books, please keep them out for now, for some time. As it is, you're not going to open before July. And when you do open, keep away all these things, follow the guidelines strictly given by ECA. And I think things would be fine.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you so much. And I'm sure that we have posted these guidelines on all the groups, but again, I will do it today. I request all the educators to get a print copy and study, because very minutely each and every detail in these this guidelines is mentioned. So half of the questions are already answered in that. So if we do a detailed study of those guidelines, I think we are halfway on it. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Harsha, I would like to mention here, the ECA guidelines are so good that Brazil has translated them and is using it now. So today we received a copy from them, which I will be sharing with everybody. It's translated for Brazil. They have done it. They have retained our ECA and APER logo, everything. And all preschools in Brazil are going to be using it. So can you imagine the impact? Wonderful. Our government has still not acknowledged these guidelines, but Brazil has gone ahead and translated it. UNICEF has given their go-ahead on including their keynote in our guidelines. Anil Swarupji, who is the ex-principal secretary of education, has given the foreword, which has now been included. So it is very important that when you have a document like this, which is so readily made with detailing, any preschool who doesn't use it is going to regret.
Perfect. So I'll take a minute and acknowledge that document, because I really want to thank you, ma'am, and the entire ECA team, because I'm sure a lot of effort has been put to make this document, because it's a 55-page document and every single detail is there mentioned in that. So ma'am, thank you so much for giving those guidelines to us. Ma'am, thank you.
Rupali Tanna mentioned that it has been circulated by World Forum. So I would request Rupali Tanna if she can WhatsApp me today. How did she come to know about it? Because I'm not aware of this. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question. When it comes to online classes, most of the parents give excuses that we both are busy in work from home. So the child is not able to attend the online classes. So here, how does the school function? So
I would advise schools, please don't consider it an excuse. When you use words like that, you are demeaning parents. Say feedback. Say parents have given us a feedback that they don't have any screen free and they are very busy. It's a genuine feedback. Let's put ourselves into their shoes. Like I will tell you, when we were planning our Google Meet, because we have planned that 15 minutes for nursery, 25 minutes for junior KG, and we sent it out to the teachers, we got a genuine feedback from the teachers that my child is in the high school. My child also has online classes, and we have just one phone in our house. We don't have a computer. So my child is attending that at that time. How will I take it for my students? So it's a genuine feedback. It's not an excuse. And this is a genuine thing that many parents are suffering from. You must know by now that many companies have become very strict. Work from home has become now 24 hours, and everybody is afraid of losing their job. So what is the best way to talk to these parents is that whenever you are taking your timetable, speak to the school, and we will try to take a kind of a vote from all the parents and come to a consensus of a timing. Let the school not be the only deciding body about the timing. Say I have 15 parents in a particular class, I take a vote, majority wins. And then I know at least that I followed the majority. So it is very, very important that we stop using terms like excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a genuine problem that they are going through. They are right now not motivated about their preschoolers. They feel khel rahe hain, unko khelne do. We have, I called it in my circular that presently parents are working from home and working at home. Work from home is what you get from the office. Work at home is all the jadu, katka, bartan, cooking that you are having to do right now. So parents are right now struggling with both. And in that now they feel, abhi ye bacche ke saath bhi baithna padega. You understand? So we will have to again monitor their mindset, speak to them why it is important. आप क्या 20 minute नहीं निकाल पाते हो आपके बच्चे के लिए? Learn to use that kind of emotional conditioning. When you talk to a parent like that, rather than accusing a parent, the parent will listen to you.
Absolutely, ma'am. When you just change these words of excuse to feedback, the total conception changed. When it was sounding as an excuse, I was wanting to, fight a battle. But now
Yes.
when I have taken it as a feedback, now I'm having solutions in my mind. Ke chalo, ab aise aise karte hain. So I think a change of word also matters a lot, ma'am.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The online transition. Will 6 months fees charging be apt now? Fees structuring like some of the schools are offering kits, uniforms, bags, and now parents have come up with the feedback that now the schools are going to open late. So what will we do with the uniform and how to go about that? So schools are struggling with that also. The parents want कि आप उतना जो access है वो निकाल दो and you just charge the normal fees and cut down on the kit charges. So how to go about that, ma'am?
I would say many of the parents of the smaller preschools are asking for monthly payments. And I think many state governments have also told them that to charge monthly payments. So that is again a call that you will have to take. Where the admission kit and the uniform and all is concerned, maybe you can again get into a negotiation with the parent that the admission kit is required. Because as soon as the lockdown is up, it can be couriered to your house and it will help you do activities with the child, which we are giving in the online. Okay. Uniform is something maybe you can defer if you want, if the parents have already not bought, but if they've already bought, well, you can't come and return the uniform to the school. So as I said, these are again things that each school will have to take based on how much they are suffering and how much cooperative their parents are being with them. But kit is something that the parents are definitely going to be needing. They may not realize it right now, but down the line, when 2 months school is going to go closed and online, they will themselves realize that ये जो activity school से थी, worksheets है वगैरह, वो अच्छे थे, हमको help कर रहे हैं. It's keeping the child occupied in a developmentally appropriate manner.
So I think here you mentioned about UAE wala jo baat humne ki, I think it fits in here. So once you start your sessions, I think then the parents will also automatically start understanding that we need these kind of things.
Absolutely.
I think it's a matter of time and how you approach to the parents.
एक और बात educators को समझनी बहुत जरूरी है कि there is in human beings we have something called भेड़ चाल, and you can change the भेड़ चाल. When we started in April our online learning, though I don't like the word online learning, so you can say virtual learning or blended learning, we had a lot of parents who were against it. We didn't get into arguments with them. We started posting the positive feedbacks of the other parents who were enjoying it on our Facebook pages. That's it. That became the voice that changed the other parents. That when they saw the other children enjoying so much, and my child is not doing anything that this child is doing, the bedchal changed from complaining to joining in. So it is very important that don't take it up as a battle. This is not a battle. This is not a fight. This is the chance for you to create a harmonious understanding with the parents.
Absolutely. Ma'am, next question. Is it possible to maintain social distancing for classes of playgroup and nursery for the first week of school, considering the children are not ready to attend school? Please guide us.
See, as again given in our guidelines, the youngest age group will be the last to join. So even in the government guidelines, children below the age of 10 are going to be the last to start going out. When that happens, preschools will be able to open. When preschools open, we have said start with your older age groups first. So aap settle in ho jao with your older age group. So play school is going to be the last to settle in. Again, we've given the option of alternate days to reduce the number of children in your class. When you do that, you will be able to, and it is at that time that you will require more teachers. So you'll require your whole team, because you will have to have at least 2 teachers in a class, or 2 adults. You can have 1 BAI and 1 teacher who will be able to take care and ensure that everybody is not eating everybody's food, or everybody is not sneezing on somebody, taking the mask out. Or guidelines में ये भी दिया है about how parents can prepare children for this new normal. So if parents at home start doing these things, start talking to them. I have written 2 books for ECA, story books, Goldilocks and the 3 COVID bears, The New Lion and the Mouse. Why have we done that? So that if you start telling these stories, children understand that this is now the way I have to be. Like I was taught to wear an underwear. Now I have to wear an outerwear on my mouth. So it will become part of their clothes wearing procedure, you know. So once they get settled at home, they will be able to do it at school. So it's going to be, again, a readiness process that schools will have to do with parents, conditioning them, conditioning the child, and then and only then will children be able to come to school.
And ma'am, as you said about the Goldilocks book and everything, I'm sure we are posting everything on our WhatsApp groups. So
Absolutely.
I think the educators can take that and post on their parent WhatsApp groups.
Yes,
I think. So,
exactly.
So these guidelines also, these books, every material that we find is for the parents. I think we should pick up and post it on our parents community so that even they are aware of everything. Ma'am, next question. It is an observation that children do not like nurses, doctors, because they keep wearing masks. So now if the teacher in the class is going to wear that mask, will the child accept that teacher, or will the child be scared?
Right. Very valid point. And this came to us from a school owner today on email. As I said, if child has seen their parents wear a mask, if a child has seen their grandparents wear a mask, the child, you will have to take the known to unknown in this. That's why if you see in my storybooks also, I've taken known characters like Goldilocks, known characters like the Lion and the Mouse, who are teaching them about the unknown, about wearing mask, about physical distancing, about sneezing in the fold of your elbow. Till now, we've been teaching children, haath muh se cover karo, fir sneeze karo. Now we are telling them, no, that is bad. You have to sneeze here. So known to unknown. I would urge parents to start wearing masks for some time. Dedicate a time in the day called now this is mask time, and everybody in the house is going to wear a mask. So once they start conditioning children like that, children will also learn to accept adults who have worn mask and won't get scared of them, because till now it was all about doctors only wear a mask, also, don't keep the masks too clinical. You are getting good quality cotton masks now, which are printed. You will now very soon have companies who will start making Disney printed masks. Ye sab karenge. So the teacher can also wear some interesting masks, and the teacher will also feel nice, and the child will not feel very scared of looking at the teacher. And as we have written in the guidelines, your voice modulation will help you a lot because your mouth is covered. See, you are going to be like this. So my eyes matter, my smile matters. This is what is going to be seen. So I will have to learn to speak in a happy voice. I will have to learn to smile. And what the pictures on my mask are the ones that are going to attract the child.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful suggestion. Another one question is how to make children follow social distancing and sit at one place.
Very valid point. Again, as I have said, everything should start from home. If at home you teach children that one hand distance, if you see in the Goldilocks book, Goldilocks is taught about waving her arms, and if it doesn't touch anybody, that means she has maintained the distance. At home also, they should have physical distancing time. So the child understands that this was my family, so I was able to sit close to them. But when I'm outside, I will now have to maintain a distance. A teacher can tell these stories on the first day of school. You know, these are characters that children already know about. So if the teacher tells them these stories, if you print out these stories, use them as your flashcards. One of my teachers made a puppet show. It's there on my Facebook page. She made a puppet show of the Lion and the Mouse, the whole story. So the new Lion and the Mouse. So if your first day is used for all these things, children love to listen to storybook characters. They love to listen to puppets. So you can also tell them in the Goldilocks book, I put a certificate at the end that I am now a COVID smart child, which means I know about physical distancing. I know about how to sneeze in my elbow, and I know about washing my hands. I know about wearing my mask. So it is very, very important that we'll have to do these things with children in play, in stories, through puppets, and repeat them. एक बार सिखा दिया वो सीख गए ऐसा नहीं होगा. We'll have to repeat them, and then and only then children will learn this new normal, which is going to be the normal now. You know, we don't know for how long we will be fighting with COVID. WHO has said that we'll have to now understand that we may have to live with this forever. So in that case, this is going to be the new normal that these children, for them, this is going to become their world.
Absolutely.
You know, we were brought up with hugging people. These children are going to be brought up by physical distancing.
Wonderful, ma'am. Thank you. Another question on this list is, if we decide no toy sharing, can you help us with activity for motor skills development?
So motor skills is something that can be done with n number of things. You don't always need objects for it. I want you to think Anganwadi. I want you to think indigenous people. Do you think children never developed without toys? Toys came later. Toy companies brought toys. I can do finger rhymes with them. A simple rhyme like Incy Wincy Spider is helping my fine motor development. It is helping my eye-hand coordination. I can do Where is Thumbkin? My finger rhymes can also develop. I can do activities like playing games which don't make them come together, but I can play games in which I'm making them jump, I'm making them skip, I'm making them hop. So I don't need toys to do fine motor and gross motor activities if I am a good early childhood educator. We have become dependent on toys. In fact, toy companies will suffer the most after this, because who's buying toys right now? Do you think schools will invest in toys right now? So there is another company and business which is going to suffer. So it's very, very important that we think about ideas and use our training accordingly. I am going to do a course for ECA. It's a 2-day course, like all the courses which are going on. My course is, I think, on the 8th or the 6th and the 8th, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to be discussing all these ideas because my topic is IQ and EQ in early years. that if we are talking about IQ and intelligence quotient and EQ, emotional quotient, both of these are going to be affected in the new normal.
Ma'am, thank you so much for this wonderful idea. Please share your opinion for online teaching, ma'am, because I think every one of us are struggling with this online teaching. So your suggestions on this.
So I'm going to give you 5 very important pointers when it comes to what people call online. If you keep these 5 in mind, you are doing something which is developmentally appropriate. Number 1, stop calling it online, stop calling it e-learning, and stop calling it classes. Stop calling it learning, call it interaction. You are not expecting children to learn from that platform. You are giving children a chance to interact, and in those interactions will come something that they would have learned, something that they enjoyed. So stop calling it learning. Call it homeschool connections. Call it homeschool play-based connections. Call it whatever, but stop calling it with these fancy names, which are actually used for children in the secondary and the senior secondary, which is scaring parents when you are using the same terminology for early years. Number 3, have a time which is age appropriate. A play school child will not be able to sit for more than 10 to 15 minutes. A nursery child may sit for 15 to 20 minutes, maximum 25 minutes. A junior KG child will sit for something around 30 to 45 minutes. A senior KG child may be able to sit for an hour. So keep your time slots according to that. Number 4, please ensure that your teachers understand that they have to be the same that they are in the classroom. You know, when you go on a screen, the children are seen in small squares. So we start treating them as those small squares. No, imagine the whole child. Each child, usko imagine karo, how this child would be in class, how the child would be shifting, fidgeting, ye sab ho raha hai na? The child is trying their best to sit down nicely. Don't keep on telling them rules. Mute karo, बैठ जाओ, देखो बैठ जाओ, मैं story बोल रही हूँ, mute karo, yes, mute karo, yes, mute. It's so irritating to the other children if you're going to be talking like that all the time. Talk, interact. Why have I done the stories on crossword? I did those stories without any props. I am talking to a camera. I don't know the thousands of children who are attending that story. But I'm still trying to use my voice, my face, my actions to connect with those children, which means you will have to be non-stop sometimes talking. And that non-stop talking shouldn't turn into droning. Boring nahi ho jana chahiye. Kabhi-kabhi jab aap question पूछो तो थोड़ा pause दो. Teach children all that. I've just drafted a circular for my parents today, and I've told the parents, it's like you used to drop your child to the physical school. Now you have to drop your child to the virtual school. Make the child sit in front of the screen, switch it on for their child, and say, beta, abhi now mummy is there doing her work, you are here with your teacher. Keep an eye from the side of your eye to see if the child needs any help. Slowly and steadily, you will see over a period of days, children will start getting used to this. And the last point, it shouldn't be कि ये जो 25 minute आपने spend किए बच्चे के साथ, that is it. We have divided our entire program into 3 parts. We have teacher-child interaction, which is the live, which we are using Google Meet for. We have parent-child interactions. So we have sent small videos which we have recorded for the parent to sit with the child and show the child. These may be on letters, these may be on numbers. And we've told the parents, do a little discussion with the child. हम आपको PDF भेजेंगे worksheet का, आप phone पे दिखाओ बच्चे को, talk. If it's a matching worksheet, you can do it without a pencil also. Na? It is thinking skills being used of the child. Then the last section is called child independent activities, which means we are giving yoga activities or simple home chores for the child to do on its own. So we've divided the whole school curriculum into these 3 slots. And these are the 3. Now what we are saying, there is flexibility in parent-child interaction. There is flexibility in child independent activities. Teacher-child jo interaction hai wo fixed hoga, but we are doing it at a timing which is comfortable for all parents. So previously we had started doing it at 9 o'clock. We got a lot of feedback from parents. See, I didn't use the word excuses. We got a lot of feedback from parents. We shifted it to 10:30 because a lot of offices start at 9 o'clock. And by the time the parent has to settle in, 10:30 we are now doing. It's okay. Some parents may say 11:30 karo, to 11:30 karo. Aapka kya jata hai? So it is very, very important that some basics you need to keep in mind for this virtual preschools that you are now going to learn to run. They cannot be like your physical preschools. But the only thing common between the physical preschool and this virtual preschool is the teacher-child connection. That cannot change. The teacher cannot change. The teacher still has to be warm. The teacher still has to be responsive. She has to be interesting, engaging. So if you keep basics in mind, parents will slowly adapt to it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Swati Popat-Watts. This was a knowledge-rich session, and I'm sure all the educators who had reached out to us for their answers, I'm sure we have discussed all the questions. And if at all, if there are any questions left out, I definitely request them. They can write to us and we can get back to them with the answers. Dr. Watts, thank you so much again. And from my side, it's a big, big, big thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Harsha, I must first congratulate you. I know you are a private preschool owner. I know you are going through a lot of upheaval right now. But I see you working not only in ECA so strongly, I also see you working in other organizations also. That is the true spirit of an educator. You don't let life bog you down. You have to keep on doing whatever is the best. We have to keep telling ourselves, this will also pass. This is a phase. Maybe it will make us stronger. The only thing that we should not lose during this phase, which I see in you, because you're always smiling, you're always positive, and you're always there trying to help and care for others. That's it. That's the message for all of us as educators. If we keep on doing this, if we tell ourselves that we are all in this together, if we all follow guidelines of an association, that is our leader, Early Childhood Association, I don't think we can go wrong. Problem will happen when 10 of us will start taking silly decisions. And because of those 10, the other 100 which are doing nice will be in trouble. So my appeal is, don't be part of the 10, be part of the 100.
Absolutely, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much for the wonderful appreciation. Each word is in my heart and will stay for long, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, ECA. Thank you, Dr. Watts.
Thank you so much, Harsha. Thank you very much.